Yeah, listen, I got vivid memories of like coming back and like my sister's outside it's like a block and 3 on each side, and Shalimar Gardens, and yeah, she's crying and went in and she said they got mum, and they were literally had my mum's head on the furnace of the gas stove trying to burn her face, and the partner was trying to, but it was just a little bit mad at 8 years old, and I tried to do something and I got tumped up and just like but anyway, these were just lots of
Killa Kela podcast. KillaKelaOfficial.com.
Street Culture TV.
Instagram UK Frontline.
Beatbox created.
Killa Kela.
And we're here to talk about world music and street culture.
Killa Kela podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, Killa Kela podcast live and direct. Central London or as central as you need to be. Can be choose to be. You don't want to be anywhere else. Trust me. Over 750 plus episodes. There's no good reason for you to be anywhere else but dialing in, tuning in and copping out to the street culture vibrations that are on the streets right now. London, UK. Okay, people, our sponsors, the mighty GK Nifty Heads, have 10,000 play-to-earn GraffPunks NFTs to give away. Get ready as London's white trash goes blockchain digital with Bitcoin Cash tokens locked into them to claim. Get yourselves over to the website gkniftyheads.com and play to earn now. Oh my goodness! We are at the Hive in central Latimer, right in the hub, the centre of all action, and we are here with a very good friend of mine, someone I've known for a long, long time, and the reason being is he's part of the institution of not just UK hip-hop, but hip-hop in general in the UK and street culture, from the Bboy antics, in fact, just an all-round B-boy. We're here to talk about West London, across the lands of hip-hop from yesteryear to right now. He goes by the name of Mo Shown inside the flames, please.
big yourself up, Kella. Big yourself up. Thank you.
You don't age, that's for certain. I don't know. I mean, I don't know what they put in your cereal, but
B-boy for life. B-boy for life, I guess. You know.
Yeah, it really is B-boy for life. I mean, an institution you were part of, a very much an early inception landing, like a cultural tornado into the UK was hip hop, right?
Yeah. I mean, yeah. You know, in the very early days when I was first experiencing it in the Priory Community Centre, I was very much a witness and a bystander, and it was predominantly a black cultural phenomenon.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know, the token white guy, and it took me a while to become that secret weapon. And so there was a lot of, I don't know, hanging in the background and just observing and being too scared to do stuff.
Talk to me about that secret, because that's interesting, because, you know, we are talking of a time where there was turbulence out there, and, you know, hip-hop gave language to communities, black community, and young people that felt like they were, you know, punk did the same thing, but the thing is with hip-hop, it was such a cheap to enter culture where, okay, if you got sneakers, you can dance. If you can rhyme, you can rap. If you got a can, you can do graffiti.
Yeah.
Like, you really had to earn your stripes, didn't you?
Uh-huh. Yeah, well, you know what? Yeah, for sure. You had to definitely, battle a lot of different attitudes, a lot of different environments, all of them quite raw, and oh man, so many stories. Like, you know, I was pretty much one of I grew up in a very Caribbean community in West London in the 80s, and for a while was the token white boy in the group of dancers, and man, I've spiraled into so many other little trains of thought there, trying to take it back to
podcast.
Right,
Grab them and let them run.
It's happening. No, like preamble.
That's it. We love preambles around
Yeah,
here.
but it was for me, it wasn't a sense of colour and stuff. It was about character, and pretty soon, you know, I was like the man, some of the glue between worlds a little bit with other people. But man,
Worlds, as in, when you say worlds, are you talking about communities, or are you talking about scenarios, people's crews, gangs, bad, good, that kind of glue?
yeah, yeah. But you know what? It's almost like I don't want to make. I didn't want to go down sort of racial lines back then. Although in West London you definitely had the Asian Southall community,
Sure, yeah.
and then you had Acton, Shepherd's Bush, the more sort of Afro-Caribbean, and then you had the white posh kids in Ealing.
Yeah.
Don't want to mention names, JK.
Shut.
But yeah, it was very diverse, West London.
It
very-
always has been,
back
man,
in-
hasn't it?
Yeah, it was very diverse,
I
but
love
there
it.
were little pockets and communities of different, economic class and stuff. And yeah, I was born in Yorkshire, but I came down to London when I was 5 years old, and moved to Acton, and had the good fortune to live across the Williams brothers. Shout out to Femi Fem,
Yeah.
T Money,
Come
Tunde.
on, send that up.
And you
Wow.
know, my brother went to the same school as Femi and stuff. And my brother was at the time a young actor doing TV and stuff. And on the back of that, me and my sister got doing like adverts and stuff when we were quite young. And that had many diverse effects on relationships with people and all things at a very early age, perception-wise.
Okay, sure.
But yeah, but then we moved away from Fletcher Road, and we moved next to we moved into a very strange situation, with some neighbours who, more to put a better word on it, tormented us for about 5 years.
What?
Yeah, my mum, my brother, and my sister, single mum and dad, broke up, and it was just one of those passive-aggressive relationships that kind of like went over, and it really, it was torturous, man.
So how old were you at that time?
I was like 8. I was like,
You remember that
between 8.
vividly, yeah?
Man, listen, I got vivid memories of like coming back and like my sister's outside it's like a block and 3 on each side, and Shalimar Gardens, and she's crying and went in, and she said they got mum, and they were literally had my mum's head on the furnace of the gas stove trying to burn her face, and the partner was trying to, but it was just a little bit mad at 8 years old, and I tried to do something and I got tumped up and just like but anyway, these were just lots of incidents in and around that time, from then like taking me out to the swimming pool and bomb diving me. Over at Three Brothers was just like constantly bomb diving me. So it was like water torture, because I get over one and then the next one would come, and then they get out and they just did a chain and they do this
Oh
face.
my
And
God,
they got we got thrown out at one point, and putting knives, and it was crazy. But they lived next door and they were in our lives. And,
Always in your life,
the
because,
weirdest thing
yeah.
about the whole thing, and
Yeah.
this is like bringing up unexpected things. Sorry, I feel a bit emotional today. But bring back memories and tributaries of thought and yesteryears and nostalgia. But they used to play every day when it got into its frantic stage. Love Don't Live Here Anymore, by literally open the window, put the speakers on full blast and play Love Don't Live Here Anymore.
wow.
And they just tormented us and stuff for years. Anyway, that was weird. So the point I wanted to get to was that my mum would have a lot of parties to try and combat the loneliness there, and she had a lot of people coming in and out. And so I
what a
learned
cloud
at,
in the-
I
that's
learned
lovely.
at an early age, right,
Beautiful
to turn
silver
tragedy into money, comedy, right? Because
celebration
basically,
in
my
a
mum
way.
would come back from the pub
Musical.
with loads of people, and back in the days when I got a bit of money, I bought Rockin' Robin when I was like 5, 6. Whenever I heard it, 5, 6 years old, bit of pocket money. So I started buying records, and by the time I was like 8, 9, I was like Gloria Gaynor, I Will Survive, Brown Girl in the Ring.
Wow.
Lots of different songs, Rockin' Robin, as I say, and my mum's friends would come back from the pub and they'd wake me up because they knew that I loved dancing, and they'd like set me on fire, slip me some money, and I'd wait for them. I got to the point I'd wait for them and I'd be ready for them to come in, and I'd do my little dance and stuff like that. So I learned very early on that performing is a currency, and celebrating joy and being alive with people and present with people was a real, you know what I mean? A real joy and a currency. And I got things out of it. So then when I go to parties, I was known as the kid who danced. So by the time B-boying come around, I was already like strutting my stuff.
God, yeah,
like,
because you're already ahead of the curve.
I was like, it was I was little snaky hips.
Yeah.
Doing my thing.
Yeah.
And then for a while, when I first got to kind of get back on the narrative of like Priory Community Centre, if you're from West London, you don't know. Cosmic Rock, Jive Junior. Like when I first saw Jive Junior, I mean, I went to school there, and it was also turning into a community centre at the same time. So it was just when hip hop started to hit. It was like 81, 80, 81, 82. Like the echoes of it, because I know there was a lot of loud guard going on there. There was a jive and Lindy Hoppers. There was like people just roller skating. There was a lot of stuff going on in Priory and gymnastics. Wow. And it was a really important place. And they had a cultural centre. I remember Lee Scratch Perry coming there one time. And the BBC came in to do a documentary about the sort of like hip-hop arriving in London. And Jive Junior was walking around sort of rapping, looking like he just dropped from Planet Hip Hop with a film crew, BBC film crew, just walking around, man. And I was just like, you know, on the wind of it, on the tailwind of it, when that came in, and then hanging around with, shout out to King B, Rhino, Lewis Palmer, Carl, rest in peace.
Rest in peace, right, wow.
Yeah. Yeah, I did. So and then I started going to school in Ealing, and then I started a crew called the Future Rockers, which was a lot of guys. Shout out the Letlow brothers, Trevor, Brian Gundetch. We had a crew called Future Rock from Ealing. Now I went to school in Ealing, and it was one of the first shopping malls in London that was kind of like had a nice.
Yeah, I know
floor,
the shop.
you know,
I know the one.
In Broadway.
Yeah, of
so
course.
Literally, that had just opened when I started going to school.
Really?
There. So when B-boy, when hip hop landed, man, it was like
we're doing that
there. Yeah, in there.
Actually, while we're here,
Yeah.
how does it feel? How does it feel to be back in the ends? Because we're in the Hive right now. This is like we are in the hub, central, Latimer Road holds so much history, graffiti.
I remember, just over there was the BMX track, man.
Yeah.
It's come down here with
and
me.
it's, you know, so you...
70s.
Yeah. So, like, what's this hold for you?
Well, I got the family homestead round here, you know, and there's a couple of older people that I look out for, you know, do a little bit of care in the community work.
What's it do to you being here? Well, where's it take you? I want to know where it takes your head.
I don't know, it's more about where it takes my heart, man. Because it's changing so much. Like Shepherd's Bush, man, is like, it's become unrecognisable. It's like the old and the past and the future colliding very quickly, and the future's out building the old or making it, you know, not so seen.
Is it that it's happened so rapid and quick that it's almost too much to catch? It's fine when it's done bite-sized and, I don't know, gentrification for all the reasons we know now. It just seems to be like it's careless in its actions and almost like the turbines crushing through woodland or something.
Well, funny you say that, because this very same land, the land that that they have used was land that was used over 100 years ago as sort of like a bicentenary world fair that used to travel around the world, and it would be the best of all the engineers, and it would be the best architects and everything, and they'd build stuff. And it's really interesting. That's why it got the name White City, because apparently there was a massive building here. So this became very interesting, because I don't know if a lot of people are into Tartaria, but there's some very interesting stories about the history of this area.
That's crazy.
White City, and then ironically they get the architects of apartheid to build the White City estate, Bloemfontein Road, South Africa Road.
Okay.
They built it for sort of the white middle class who were working at the BBC.
Yeah, okay. That.
And then in the
I was waiting for the
60s
dots
and
to join
70s,
in.
it became very, became very black, became very white skinheads. It was a rough, like, White City, Shepherd's Bush. History, yeah.
West has got so much cultural history. It's actually daunting what we're talking about here. And this is why I love these podcasts, because it's a Pandora's box, and I know what the other people are thinking or
You know
watching.
what? It's a bit of a
It's
pressure
like-
cage because it's like north, east, and south. They got a lot of places that they can let off in
Yeah.
there. You know, Dalston, Hackney, Brixton.
Yeah. The West is a wrestle.
But the
with
West
that.
is like
Yeah.
Shepherd's Bush and Grove. I mean, Grove can pop. You know what I mean? Grove's got some lovely spots, but Bush is like
Yeah.
Ginglet used to pop. Ginglet under the green used to be toilets. They turned it into a sort of members club. But, you know, they had a dance floor and music, and you could play chess, and they had a bar, and yeah, all sorts of people went in there. Comedians. Robin Williams was in there. Yeah,
It's funny how that.
but that's all gone. That was all gone. You know, early noughties.
Well, this is the thing, isn't it? Like you say, it's this constant cultural wrestle between the establishment and the true creatives of West London that thrive in places like this. It's bittersweet, really, because this is a beautiful location for real street shit. But you know, for how long we don't know. That's the ongoing, and it's always like that. It's always like that in cities, isn't it?
Yeah. You know, I mean, there's been some like some good stories. We have some good stories to report.
Yeah,
yeah.
it's good news too.
Yeah. Big up to some grassroots community locally
fuck yeah,
who,
yeah.
when Grenfell went, were like the first responders
Yeah.
to sort of like bandugger themselves into a space that was not being used under the Westway,
Fantastic.
and just used it as a place for like aid to come. We're like there, you know, and that's where the community went.
Yeah.
And as a result of that, a lot of things were donated there, and a dance floor was donated there, and a space, and now it's turned into a sort of cultural community centre, teach drumming, dance, capoeira, martial arts, and they were in a long, protracted war since Grenfell fell. A few years from that, with Westway 23, about, you know, like them wanting to take the space back. But it's a long history, and you need to look into why it's called Westway 23, because it's about the 23 acres that were promised to the community when they took down that strip of road to make the Westway. You know, a lot of communities. So they were meant to give a certain space to communities,
didn't?
but no, they finagled a lot of it to inside of people. It became commercial properties, it became galleries, it became this, and they're very stush. So anyway, they persevered, and very recently had a plaque laid at their entrance saying that they were being recognised as a sort of valid community
beautiful.
project, and something like the next 67 years, as long as the contract was up,
Oh, wow.
was for them to, you know, do their amazing
Very
space.
fucking cool.
Medadani, the
Yeah.
village, if ever you know, in Ladbroke Grove, it's just on the right.
That's
there.
brilliant.
Drumming on a Sunday with my sensei, Falador, Eric, love you, shout you out, King.
Nice. There you go. So if you get to know the
Grandpa.
West, know about this. Sticking with the script on your
Yeah.
story.
Yeah.
So, because one thing that I really admire about you the most is your versatility, shall we say? I always bump into you in different guises, different guises, different outfits, different things,
Yeah.
and the performer in you is relentlessly diverse.
You know, well, you know what? I have to give props to, I come from a very rich Irish artistic ancestry. And my mother was Irish, an actress, and her uncle and his subsequent wife and were well-known Irish actors, playwrights. My great-uncle was in like Z Cars and stuff, and he used to scribe for George Bernard Shaw. And so he had this flat in Ladbroke Grove, and 22, man, and like, you know, my mum used to go to parties there as the young niece of Uncle Pat, Uncle Dermot, God rest his soul, and Dee, and the Halligan sisters. And my mum, like, she was cavorting, partying with like Richard Harris, all them, the other one, Burton, and anyway, in the 60s, it was a bit of a crash pad for artists, and you know, people would come in, and and it was in the family for a while. But that was, so my mum came over in the 60s because she'd had an affair with an Irish actor, quite a famous Irish actor at the time.
Wow.
And came over with 6 other women who, because they'd all got pregnant out of wedlock, if they had their children or given birth in Ireland, then the powers that be want to be,
Oh, of course,
Catholic
right.
powers would
Yes,
take
yes.
the children off them and probably put them in Magdalene
bet.
laundries or something like that.
Yeah.
So 6 of them came over in the 60s to Ladbroke Grove and just sort of had their babies here, and sort of like, we call them the Irish Mafia, and they've all grown up and the kids have, you know, come and gone and died, and some are still alive, and there's a few of them left, and my mum was part of that. So that was like this thing, you know. But then she met my dad. She was a receptionist at the BBC, met my dad, and moved up to Leeds because my dad started working for Yorkshire Television. Didn't work out. Came back down to London, and yeah, man, it was a very rich and textured start. And I saw, as I was saying, I saw the currency in performance. I'm trying not to be too performative. I'm trying to actually, you know, like, because you're asking me about my life and stuff like that. But yes, was on advertising and stuff like that. So at young, I was seen as somebody who was quite cool, but I was also targeted by certain people because it was weird for some people to see that I was on TV,
And then
but
you
I
were
wasn't
hanging
rich
out and
from
they were-
it. But I didn't really I didn't really grow up.
But your heart and
it
your
was
head
pretty-
was in the currency of culture.
yeah, but
on
there was
the
a lot of
ground.
people trying to like mess with me and stuff. So I had to be quite sharp and I had to be a little bit, you know. And I ended up just being a face around West London in the 80s, you know. And I got stories, you know, coming up to Grove and crazy stuff because it ends back then, you know what I mean? Like getting, like you say, you're from the wrong hood, you're getting like decked, stabbed. Back in the day, man, it was wild west round here. But you know, man, I got some great memories and some great stories. But I feel like I want to unpack them because you know what I mean. It's like it's quite a compacted thing.
Let's get unpacking.
But
Let's go.
yeah, I know. Of giving you a taste of what it was like
Yeah.
back then, and what got me into performing. Because what saved me is that as hip hop was dying, there was an initiative in Ealing called Ealing Young People's Theatre, acronym Egypt, and it was like a community-led theatre. So we had elder people from the Priory Community Centre. Shout out to Rudy Ranks, Jive Jr., Jerry Barry. They sort of like got together people to teach us young kids certain techniques and bringing in choreography for like hip hop dancing and stuff like that.
Oh, sick.
Graffiti artists.
Yeah.
And then we went on to do some quite big plays and we got chosen for festivals and we went and toured Europe and sort of did, you know, festivals with like Peterbrook, and we did some like contemporary versions of farces, Archangels Don't Play Pinball, Dario Fo.
Whoa.
So just as hip hop was sort of, I
You
wanted
made
to
that
talk
transition.
about, yeah, you know what, but for me, dance was always a thing. So as I say, you know, I was skanking before hip hop came.
Yeah.
I was a rude boy, me and Mean. Like, I grew up with Mean. And we was rude boys.
Big up my guy.
Yeah, big up my guy, man.
Yeah.
We was
Donny.
rude boys first. And anyway, too many tales around that growth and his mother was one of the Irish ladies who came over and
Wow, you
yeah,
guys are big up, man.
yeah.
I remember talking to Scam
Oh yeah.
about the era of Ladbroke Grove and
Yeah.
you know, Hawkwind and these kind of bands that used to operate.
You know
around
what?
then.
Listen, man. When we moved to London, my mum went out with this roadie, Terry, man, and he was connected to all them.
Really?
Yeah. Not only
Wow.
that, he when Fela Kuti came here, he did all the sound and everything.
Nah.
So I remember going to see Fela Kuti.
That's crazy.
Ginger Baker, Thingy Bond, Graham Bond, and Hawkwind, right? All the pubs around there. And I remember seeing Lemmy around in the pubs. But I mean, I've been going to the carnival since I was like 5 years old.
Did you ever know, you know a guy called Z?
Z, yeah.
I know he's a good mate of mine, he's a good mate of Means as well. Big up Z, yeah.
Big up Z.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You'll definitely know each other. Same stock.
Yeah, you know, for a while, I mean, I had a couple, you know, at the time, man, coming up here, I think I was with Demo at the time, and some guy comes out, yeah, where you from, mate? And I was like, yeah, I'm from Acton, and bam!
Whoa.
Yeah, knocked me to the floor, man.
Really?
So I kicking crap at me, and I just rack some Reeboks, and then I was like, please just don't let the Reeboks come out, man.
Anything but the
I want to get
ribs,
them back
fine.
clean. And then I remember like just running for a bus, chasing me, and then like jump on the back of the bus, backing up at the open days, like crying on the bus, and then getting to Ealing Broadway, and there was a battle going on, and I was so angry, man. I went in there and I just like, I ripped it, man. I ripped it. It was good because I was
Day in
cool
a
with all the
fucking
crews,
life,
man.
boy.
But, yo, there was so many tales back then, like going to some real raggo place, real far out places, maybe Hayes, South.
What, to battle or to rack or to
Going
what?
to battle, to see Hall of Fames. I remember going to one amazing one in the amphitheatre. It was like Wild Style. It was like, the end at the amphitheatre there. And I remember, just all these, it was like, we were all magnetised to it, like golden hue in the air at its genesis, you know what I mean? There was something about it. It was all, and so then I took this into the thing, and I got the lead role when we auditioned to play this character Lofty. I play it one night, and Rudy Ranks would play it the next night.
Way.
And we switch it, and then I played the subsidiary roles, and he played the subsidiary roles, and it was quite a big role. But actually, before that, I had done a bit of TV, and I did a film as well, Smart Money, when I was about 15. I did
Google
a
that.
BBC
Google
film,
that.
Smart Money, and then I did a few other little things, America. I did a few things I can't remember about. Juliet Bravo, I was on Juliet Bravo.
Yeah?
Yeah, my brother was in...
You know what I'm saying?
my brother was in Sapphire and Steel.
Yeah?
There's a show called Sapphire and Steel. Old school people
This
might
is
remember that.
it. Come on.
Yeah. And so, why can't I go home? So it was in the family, and there was people around, and my dad was in TV at the time.
Entertainment was
so it was like
a
entertainment.
huge
I was making
factor.
wedding when I was in school as well. I got picked out to do. I had to say, I came when we had a dance in Stedford, they call it. So it was like a dance competition, and I came third. It was like the first one when break dancing was really a thing, and I remember Mark Smith Rhino came first, and next guy comes second. I come third, and that was Ealing Green. That was a seminal moment in you know what I mean, getting like and also beatbox. I was beatboxing then too, man. I won a beatbox competition in I was doing everything. I was DJ. Listen, man, like in the beginning,
That's what I'm saying.
Just,
like,
everything was going on.
It's
it
hard
was
to
just percolating.
quantify the input that you're credited to have done at a time where hip hop wasn't exclusive to one single lane, like you. And that's what I used to love about it most, is that, all right, cool, rap was always at the forefront, but there was these other octopus arms that you could adopt.
It was crazy. It was creation.
Yeah.
With mad.
Do you think that's
popping
lost
off.
nowadays? Do you think that's lost?
Now, maybe I think that ADHD has taken over, and now we're just recycling culture, and those golden moments of Genesis are sort of few. They're not so global, they're not so worldwide anymore. It's like, it's like we've made it all the music there is to make now. Everyone's just like taking it. In popular music, I don't really listen to popular music, so I don't really know what.
It's really interesting, isn't it, the shape of the world and how attention... it's diverted most of the time in social media, but if you really focused on being talent rather than being, popular, which I guess social media popularizes people by numbers, but that doesn't make up talent. You've got to spend time on craft, haven't you?
Yeah, you got to enjoy it. You got to, I don't know. Allow yourself to follow your highest excitement sometimes, like being creation, because when you're in creation, you're like, it's a good coherence.
Where's your head go when you're creating? I mean, wait, hold on, wait. Before you answer that.
Yeah, we're still in my story.
Hold on.
Yeah, so anyway,
as you were, sorry.
on the back of
Yes.
doing these festivals with this amazing group, Egypt, big up to David Greaves and Jennifer Robinson.
I love our
taking
segues linking back
initiative.
in. This is going
Yeah, I
good.
like to segue. I like to kind of follow the
flow.
get everything concluded, wrapped up, digested. I was sort of offered a scholarship to go to Desmond Jones School of Mime and Physical Theatre to study mime, physical theatre, clowning, buffoonery for 2 years. I did that, and then started working in Covent Garden, doing working in a vegetarian restaurant and stuff. So kept around in Covent Garden, because Covent Garden was, we didn't even touch on Covent Garden, but that was very important. I had so many stories from,
So you were
in
there.
and
You
around
were there.
then, you know what I mean?
You were
And,
there
and a
when
lot
it
of the
was
time,
happening.
you know what I mean, I was just another white kid hanging around, you know, but I didn't, you know, shout out to Rolo,
Yeah.
Raheem, shout out to, rest in peace, Gazelle, Robert Edwards, who, you know, there was so many characters from back then. Yeah, I mean, you could do another thing on that. What some of the things I saw there, like, you know, baseball bats to heads, and like me personally getting robbed there by somebody, and then, you know, somebody stepped in and said, nah, he's, you know what I mean, like, this ain't no shy kid, you know what I mean, like, yeah, and spats and just
Spats as well.
so much of that. But I digress. I was just trying to get to, so there's me now, basically working in Covent Garden just so I can go to all the clubs after work, you know, washing
Spats
up,
was
doing
one of them?
things.
Yeah, man.
No, Spats was on a Saturday. Spats was, that was
Oh, so
early.
you were what, in the
yeah,
days?
they went
In the week?
Spats. That I was like 14 going to Spats, and then because by 15 I was going Mud Club. Mud Club was the next level. That's where, you know, you started to see who was who, and you know what I mean, like
The movers
lot of
and
old
shakers,
faces.
yeah.
And that stayed on for a while. You know, when hip hop died, and hip hop right then, you know, you had to go listen to a whole load of house to listen to hip hop, because they couldn't play a lot of hip hop, because if too many people knew hip hop was being played,
kick
it
off,
could get rowdy. But it was a real mixing of cultures too. You know, there was a very prolific gay culture there, and a very prolific sort of white clubby culture, and sort of very predominant black. You know, quite retro. There was a lot of, you know, shouting at flowers, and you know, all the 70s kind of stuff came back as hip hop was kind of dissolving into something else before it became swing beat. You know, it's like we look back for a bit as hip hop was just dying out. People wanted to keep it moving.
Yeah.
Shout out, you see Rev there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'd be there with Dodge.
Yeah, big up Dodge. Old time
yeah.
Dodge. He's in the back.
Wino.
Dodge, yeah.
And yeah, man, so many adventures from that place. So we got distracted by the clubs, because there's so many other clubs, man, in and
Oh
around.
man, it's so
That's
sepia and rich, and you know, my
yeah.
mind just conjures up these images.
Honestly, like these nights would just pop up, right? And at the time, man, I just loved dancing. So I was deep into James Brown, like, man, when it was like, I don't know, it got New Jack for a while,
Yeah.
and then I shout out Matthew B, man. I remember the End when it opened, and it was just around the corner from where I was working on Neal Street. And the reason I mentioned Neal Street, because a lot happened there. That's where I got picked to MTV to be a kind of like a face of this thing, and we went to clubs, danced in front of Prince, not the Prince, a Prince, the Prince, and then ended up working with George Michael for a bit. But from that place there, but the End was there, so I was going around there, right? And basically, I remember like still like throwing down moves and stuff. And then I heard some other people saying, "Oh no, man, there's a guy who goes down the End, man. Yeah, he's a mad b-boy." He's like, and I kind of so I went down there to see who this was. Like, who's this guy? But sure enough, over time, then people started turning up, and it was like a rising of like, oh yeah. And then I met like Blem, Little Tim.
Wow.
And so we, you know what I mean? We kind of kept a little through line there, certain heads. Shout out to Dean. Oh, man, he was a soldier. There was some soldiers, man. Like, I remember the two Saint brothers, the B.O. brothers. Like, I would go out, just hang out there, Itchy Town, Camden.
Yeah, of course.
All these different places in the centre as well, on Carnaby Street. And just club, like, literally wash pots and stuff like that. And then I got gigs dancing. And then from that, I got an audition for Stomp, and took my 2 left feet, and I got the call back, but I had to get back to finish washing the pots of pan, and I nearly didn't go it. But shout out to my man Paulie Paul, legend Paulie Paul. He said, "No, man, you gotta do this." And I did it, and I got it, and spent the next 13 years of my life on the road with Stomp.
You know what I'm saying? It's not basic podcast.
Which is another like. Yeah, well, you know what I mean. We would have to check with my lawyers. It's no, it's good, man. I mean that was like kind of going simply from the street, you know, and also being sort of like not a failed child actor, but I when I got to the age of 16, I just did this big movie, you know, and I was like the 3rd lead in it, and you check it out, Smart Money, director Bernard Rose, and I froze at this point and had opened and so many possibilities of thought that I could go down. I've kind of
Pick a
forgotten what
lane.
it was. Yeah,
Pick a lane.
pick a lane.
What
With a
colour
pickled brain,
pill do
with a
you
pickled
want?
brain, with a pickled brain. No, I can't remember where I was going to. It will come back to me.
That's a segue at this point
Yeah,
because
let's
we're
segue.
enjoying our
Let's
segues
segue.
here.
I'm going to put on my thinking
Yeah,
cap for a minute.
thinking
I'm going to
cap.
put on my thinking cap for a minute.
You have been,
Need some privacy.
you are extremely.
So back in the days, I have to say this, when I was going to clubs and B-boying was coming back, 96, scratch and everything, right? A lot of times I wasn't with a crew anymore because I was just moving by myself a lot, you know? I was going to Electric Ballroom a lot and I was hanging out with different guys, but we would go out on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday night, all different
You never
times.
deferred to being into like techno or rave or anything like that?
Nah, always was into like the jazz, the funk, the hip hop.
Because a lot of people fell through that.
Yeah, reggae. I was into reggae. I got deeply into sound systems. I should have mentioned to I grew up with sound systems in South Acton. Big up Funkers Delight, big up Rap Attack, big up Intimate Connection, big up all these sound systems.
Hard.
Cleveland Anderson.
Yeah, yes.
Oh
Big
yeah,
up.
blues parties, man. So I moved to Hamwell when I was like 12, 13 years old. And there's a lot of green around Hamwell, you know, Acton's quite tight, but Hamwell was nice, man. And I used to go blues parties.
Yo,
A
that must
lot
have been
round there,
sensual
man. It
as
was mad,
fuck.
and a lot of the
It was been
estates,
so
like-
sick.
and I had mad experience at like 13 moving it. It was like a different world.
Yeah.
And that's when that's like when the local youth club, St. Joseph's Youth Club, like had battles in there. Like people would come round from different community centres. And the one just up the road was where Charlie Chaplin had lived. And it was like I went in there and I sort of tried to get in with that crew. No, they tried to, you know, I didn't, you know. When you kind of trying to make super crews with other people, because some of the people you with might not be that good or something. But there was a lot of battling, a lot of toing and throwing, but a lot of madness. And I got to shout out one guy, Bobby Bird, man. It was like my life took off when I got out of the shadow of the neighbours. Maybe we could cut this bit so people understand. And we moved out to Hamwell. God bless Hamwell. And that's when things took on a whole new different level of madness. I
can see why you're to really, you know, whittle down like your story. It's actually
because that was a mad time, right? Growing up in predominantly like 90% of my friends were black or Indian. So I was getting beaten up by white people. And seriously, like, you know what I mean? Like, attack, like, ice picks,
Really?
baseball bats. Yeah, mate. Yeah, I got, man, if I hadn't twitched that way, I would have lost an eye.
wow.
And, you know, still my nervous system has got, like, some deep traumas from back then, because, yeah, that was a mad one. Shout out to, rest in peace, Glenn Roy. But, yeah, just madness. So getting into blues, getting into reggae, and getting into, like...
Music was your medicine.
Yeah, music was definitely my medicine, and also part of the madness. I did get into the raving for a little bit, did get into stuff like that, but I was really enjoying performing and DJing. So big out, I got to say, just as breaking as well and popping started to sort of get, you know, and I got into graffiti. I was tagging and right all the way, you know what I mean? Like me and you, me and grew up together. And shout out to Wino too. And it was like the time when the dancing wasn't there, the battles weren't happening out in the street. I met up with, shout out to Rome and Code. I used to go to school with Rome and met up with them at the Swiss Cottage Jam, infamous Swiss Cottage Jam. That was me went up there with a couple of my pals, and we was wandering around, and some other guys came and sort of like tried to make a move on us. And so my other friends had seen it and indicated to us to like go out with them. And we went out and my friends just came around and circled them. It was shout out to Masood and them, man. That was a lovely moment, man, because back then, you know what I mean? It was like, there weren't a lot of other white people there in some of these events. And I remember seeing Sasha and Code and Style Kings, you know what I mean, all day, every day. ACR, Merc.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? All those
crew.
guys, man.
Yeah.
And I actually ended up getting caught in yeah, I can't even say it was a raid, but yeah, Acton Town Yards,
Yeah.
23
Wow.
people,
Wow.
and chased us on, and me and yeah, 2 others end up getting bagged, and a bit sad. It was on home turf, you know, kind of thing, but I don't really think I'm gonna go into it. But I mean, it's an old thing. But you know what I mean. I was young, so
Yeah.
I was a juvenile at the time.
Yeah.
But the other 2 they weren't even co-conspirators. You know, I said I didn't know them. There was 23 of them. I was okay. They were someone else. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I had pictures. I had
Sketches. Yeah.
I had a camera. I had film and everything. I took pictures and everything, and. Yeah, I was banged up in the cell. They rang my mum. She was like, "How long can you keep him for?" And he was like, 48 hours. She was like, "I'll be there on the 47th, 59th minute."
Wow.
And come down. And I remember when I went and I had the camera, and the guy said, "What's that?" And I said, "Well, I was going to take pictures, but, you know, I got exposed." And so he gave it back to me. And, yeah, I went back into the cell, and then and I thought straight away, I went and I fucking, like, bagged it, balled it. And the guy came in, about 40 minutes in, and he goes, "Have you got that?" I said, "Oh, no, I flushed it down the toilet. In the cell." And you know, and I'd done I think I'd done anyway, but it was
Just
like,
cover the evidence.
so anyway, as a result, I ended up with the pictures,
Wow.
the photos, but they're not very good. But it was an interesting night, and so a little bit after
Insightful.
that. So what happened is, I ended up buying some of the, you know what I mean. I kind of like got my fingers burnt a little bit, so I was like, I got into DJing.
Yeah.
I got into DJing, and I basically I just got into DJing, man, and I've been seriously like, and I bought, you know.
You DJ now? Even now?
Yeah, you know what I mean. Like, I kind of went through a phase where, like, I used to DJ, you know, back in the day a little bit. Shout out Bagley's, Flowers, Breaks and Beats. I was the Santa Claus that breaks and beats. And it was
Yeah, not
quite
shy
fun.
of wearing a costume.
No, back then, listen.
That's what I love about you the most, bro. It's like you just go in.
What I wanted to get around to say is that in a lot of those days when hip hop started emerging back, is that I wasn't really in a crew, but I used to DJ with Flowers in them. And in the entry hall was, you come into Bagley's. People know Bagley's in King's Cross. And literally...
Iconic.
Yeah, it would be like me, Shiva, Rev, Flowers, Dodge. And I would play get my tune, know what tune, and then had the break lined up. A few bars before it went out, go out and like battle someone, just do something. They battle me back, battle them back, get back, and just get up there.
Versatility, you see.
Yeah.
Multitasking.
Yeah, and there was a couple of times, man, where we got, you know, I remember going out to one guy, and I didn't get back there. I just had to let it play because we got into this thing, and we were just like,
Have it,
and
have
in the
it,
end
have
up,
it.
we sort of like jumped up and then just hugged one another.
Like, fuck,
and it was like strong, and then never saw the guy again. That was a madness. Those a lot. I mean, shout out Femi Shake and Finger Pop.
Yeah,
and the
hold
whole
tight.
kind of
These are
warehouse
iconics,
thing.
and Google
There's
that
lot,
shit.
A lot happening organically and
Legends.
beautifully, and we didn't know what it was, and we were all in it and alive to it. Yeah. And so I ended up doing Stomp for a long time.
Yeah.
Which was really, really good, and then had a son. I ended up living in New York. New York's, I got a strong connection with New York. My brother's father lived in New York, and so my brother lived there. So I was getting stuff sent over to me when I was sort of young.
Yeah.
So like, I'd like the goose, gazelles, and sort of like
Yeah.
a bit flying. Shout out to Brixton Rec days, man. Like so many stories of like, I don't know. I used to roll with you know what I mean, big crew from West London, Cosmic.
Cosmic, of course.
Yeah.
Big up
yeah,
B-Boy
yeah.
Documents at this point as well.
Yeah, big up B-Boy Documents.
Yeah, big up 147 crew, of
Yeah.
course, local to the
The
area,
Acton
TU.
Massive.
Yeah,
Greenford,
Yeah.
Chief Up Rockers.
come on, yes,
Yeah.
that's right.
Yeah, so many memories.
Mastermind.
Mastermind. Listen, so that's funny you say that because that's a good. When I was talking about
I
the
do
blues
segues, you see.
parties, right? Yeah, no, that was psychically. We're just At one of the blues parties, I met two girl rappers who were really good, right? And I was blown away. And at the time, I was beatboxing with a few other guys, right, with a little crew, Desinar, Derek Shaw, Norman Robert, Robert, Roller Raheem. A lot of people know.
Yeah,
from back in
yeah.
the day.
Yes.
American. They were. What was I saying?
You were. Let's go back to Mastermind.
Mastermind.
Yeah.
The
Two girl
so,
rappers.
yeah, we Papa Girl rappers.
Bro.
So we Papa Girl rappers, and
Mad.
we ended up beatboxing for it. It was a lovely
That's
Genesis
crazy.
moment on the street
Yeah,
corner
yeah.
outside of Blues, West Ealing, rapping to them, me and Derek, and we
Mad.
started going to the studio with them, and we went up to Stonebridge to Herbie. My
Really?
man Herbie, yeah.
Really?
Yeah. And we got up there, and there was another guy with him, I think it's Chris, gingerhead guy, walking to Stonebridge. And Stonebridge back in the day was no
Crazy.
joke, right? It was
Yeah.
crazy. And we even went up with, it was like more dangerous if you went up with more of us because we started going there, but then a lot of our friends kind of like attached themselves and said, let me come up there with you. And they were a little bit hangers-on, but they also, we felt a little bit security, but then that was antagonised something anyway. There was some story.
Yeah.
But what happened is we were recording songs for them and doing stuff, and I was bringing out samples and little scratches. And we didn't get a call for a little while and stuff like that. And then she basically had gone with a kind of someone who I looked up to. I don't want to mention his own name, but Brother Siam, he ended up doing it and recording it on Def Con on the album.
Right.
He did all stuff, and he actually had a child with one of the singers. And R.I.P. Rest in Tim, little, Tiny Tim. They were sisters.
Yes.
And they lived in Acton.
Right.
And you know, we was on a roll with them, and then suddenly they just stopped calling us, and then we hear they're recording an album, and then when we saw the album, we was like, that's not the direction we were going. We were keeping it more like break orientated, and they went really poppy, and we were a little bit like, I think we missed a bullet there.
Yeah. For the most part,
Yeah.
they were definitely on it.
But we just feel a little bit like, oh, that's the industry. We felt a bit cheated.
That's the industry
'cause
standard, that,
Everybody
yeah.
was like, yeah, you know, these girls are going to be really good. You know what I mean?
And you guys were in the front
really
hot
stood
seat
out.
with them, yeah.
Yeah, we performed, right? I tell you what, we performed when before Aswad at Meanwhile Garden in 1985, 86.
Yeah.
I was like 15, 14, 15. And we performed
Locals
for
is
Aswad.
Aswad
And I
round
think
here,
that's where
man.
they recorded the African Children version. I was there when they
Really?
did that. African Children, Aswad version, live,
tight.
Portobello,
Yeah.
Meanwhile Garden.
Meanwhile Gardens.
Yeah.
Trellick, The Pit.
Yeah.
All these places. all
History,
these
man.
places.
It's a deep history, man.
Mad
Deep.
history. It was one of the first
Yeah.
areas where hip hop really hit.
It's a portal.
Futura,
It's
Clash.
a portal.
Yeah.
It's a real magical area, you know. I mean, they made a film about it. you
Yeah, I
know what
know. Well, we were talking about that. You know,
Yeah.
the thing, and we will wrap this up because I just feel it's a nice moment because you're here, and your generation, for the most are. I guess you know what I think it's quite hard for even my generation and younger to comprehend that the buck stops at a certain generation where hip hop has become so modernised. It's like hearing them, you know, lead guitar in the middle eight of a rock song. It's like it's so passé.
Yeah, listen.
Do you know what I'm saying?
It's spectacle.
Yeah.
A lot of it. Yeah, man. And, God, man, like, I've witnessed hip hop in so many different states, in so many different forms, in so many different stages around the world. Because, trust me, when I was performing with Stomp, like, hip hop in London was, I don't want to put. It was still formulating and it was coming. There was some good people from back then, but in the rest of the world, it had really been seen as something that wasn't resurgent. They just kept it as something
moving.
revolutionary
Yes.
because it was something that they could really express with.
Yeah.
And so there was an urgency about it. And the funny thing is, a great book came out in like 2001, and it was about Neil somebody, I can't remember his name, but he just went around the world because it was all puffy, it was all
Shiny
westernized hip hop,
suits
it
and
was
all
just
that,
rubbish, very polished and produced and corporate. And he went around the world and wrote this book about going around the world, and ended up going back to New York and meeting up with the real live crew. Malik, shout out Malik,
Yeah.
and man, the other brother, he passed away, man, big love. When I moved to New York in 2004, I met these guys straight away, and it was like, you know what I mean? It was. So I lived in New York for about 4 years, and that was an incredible time. So many stories off the back of that. You know, I've done a lot of theatre projects. I've done a lot of immersive projects. I've tread between a lot of worlds. Learn certain crafts. I taught clowning for a while after going around and studying with really good clowns, you know, and, you know, doing Stomp. I met some amazing people, worked with, you know, some, you know, Chevy Chase, Lee Evans, Quincy Jones, like, and did some amazing adventures. There's so much in and around that. That's just, you know, I could write a book about that. And I'm just getting to a part in my life where I'm like, I'm going to check the footage out because, you know, few people who I know from then who really shown it, and people are going into pass, and I'm like, wow, I need to look at some of this stuff, start sharing it with people who are still alive.
100%.
That was a deep, like, it's hard to explain what going out and being in syncopation with 7 other people every night at certain points where you know you got to hit it as a team. And then, you know, you pop at little points and you know you can improvise on it, but you've got to hit as part of the structure. And it was such a good feeling. And I was the comedic part. So I probably put thousands of hours of playing this particular character, who was the person who probably most people would identify with if they came to see it, because he was a guy who was a little bit left-footed and like he couldn't quite work it out. So, you know, a lot of people would be like, oh yeah, I can see why that guy's having trouble. But then, you know, I'd have little moments of panache and flash, and or do things, you know, that look, and I got to really, like, you know, learn the clown, and you know, from that really understand that sometimes less is more, you know. And don't give them too much, and just stand and just let them, their imagination just hang on you a bit, you know. And so it gave me a lot of confidence. I got into immersive theatre when I came back to London. I sort of worked on the tail end of the Olympics. I didn't really want to be a part of that, but I did the big dance bus. I went around that with Natasha Kamjani and a whole crew of dancers. There was quite a few of us. But I was like the Norman Wisdom character on this big red bus that went around the country, and we pull up with a mobile stage. It was all Arts Council backed. Shout out Jackie. I can't remember the second name. But it was a really beautiful thing that happened for a couple of years, and we just put a platform on for local community artists to come and do stuff and invite local professional companies. And we just have a day in the Jamboree, and then we'd have, like, we do a little kind of routine. It was all, it was fun. It was fun, a big dance bus. And then from that, it was gone into a lot of immersive stuff. And waiting for the day when, you know, speaking with John Z, big up John Z D.
Yeah, big up John Z.
Waking Convention, yeah. Mentoring with them, you know,
That's a
on
beautiful
and
thing.
off, you know. But bless up for all that experience.
Layered, bruv.
Yeah,
Layered.
yeah.
You need to go into the archive and get that. Pull them receipts out.
Yeah.
Pull them receipts out. They need
Yeah.
to be historically documented, the things you've done, and in detail, in
Yeah,
chronological order.
I did some crazy shit, like, early on in break. Like, it was, I went, like, so yeah, I was mentoring, which is so satisfying. But yeah, no, big up John Z and Jane, man. Yeah, it was, life comes in different things, because I was just speaking to him the other day, man, and he wrote this show with me in mind back in, like, before the breaking convention was really happening, and I was doing Stomp in the West End, and he came and asked me, let's go and approach. And I had this concept of a show called Hoover Man, so he had this sort of tag, and and I was going to do that, and he was going to maybe be in mine and everything like that. And then I got the opportunity to go to New York and do Stomp, and he said, right, we're ready to do it. We've got the money, the budget. Can you come back? And I was like, I asked them, and they said, no, if you go back, yeah. I said, I can't, man. And so I wasn't in it. And it would have been different, and that would have been a real more political, because I would have been at the genesis of breaking convention and around, but I took a divergent path, and I stayed in New York, met the light of my eye at the time. I had a child with this lady, beautiful lady. And just the meeting of that was something else. Like so many synchronicities in my life. It's like people used to say I'm charmed as I am cursed, cursed as I am charmed. But I've led quite a magical life, and some of the synchronicity and little synchrodipitous moments. Yeah. And I've got so many of them, and that's a nice story to unpack. How I met this, and we weren't together long with the baby, and we're not together now. And I'm with, an amazing lady, amazing woman now. I'm just trying to speed it all and get it all in. So I'm still performing, still doing, work, but I've come into more mentoring, directing, creating my own stuff, moving into poetry. Yeah. And just kind of keeping rhythm, keeping a hand watching, percolating, you know what I mean? Yeah. I'm a conscious being, so I'm just being conscious,
being conscious as well.
In the ever-present of this co-creative now.
Yeah. Real talk.
Yeah.
But my brother, we need to do a part 2.
Yeah, we need to do or we sit and chat, and then you just like chop it up into those, because there's stories, you know what I mean? It's like we sort of get on the precipice, we'll go here. I mean, because I had so many stories, because Dodge was here and I thought he might jump in, but 1990 Glastonbury has to be talked about, because that was a seminal moment in the whole culture of popular culture in the UK. Like how, what happened to me personally, you know what I mean? And my journey, which kind of ties in with using the concept of clown and fool to sort of bypass certain rational, logical structures in the brain. And I can only explain it like that because I had something very metaphysical and supernatural happen to me at Glastonbury after a very weird near-death experience. And we found the story. I mean, because there was a lot of characters there, a lot of people were there that I still see today. Big up Drax and same people, Drax. Man. But Dodge was there too, and what we saw there, what we witnessed. So basically, I've got this. Someone's given me a microdot. I've taken it, we've swallowed it without chewing it. There's a whole crew of us. I'm walking along, and it's caught in my throat. I can't do anything. And then next minute, there's a guy starts hitting me on the back because he can see I'm choking. But my friends turn around, they see this guy like hitting me on my back, and they come over and they just jump on him, they beat the shit out of him. And I'm on the floor like spitting out blood. And then they give me a beer, and I say, I didn't. And then my mate goes, I thought you got to chew it, because it was really hard plastic. And gave me another one, and honestly, I went into a real funny like zone because of not being able to like get the. It was like if I took a breath in, I felt I was going to die, and if I didn't, and I just couldn't. Fuck that. And I went into a new dimension, and then anyway, when I came up, I could write a book on just what happened to me and what I've had to go back and almost try and find what happened in time to my coordinates, because I was. Yeah. And then we did go and find 600 tabs of acid, and just stumbled upon them, me, Dodge and Mean, back then. And, started giving them, selling them, and it was a crazy time. And, friends of mine, sadly ended up being sectioned or committed or, dying with suicide. So it was a bit of a mad time, but that Glastonbury, what happened for all of us there, was just a madness. And me and Dodge stayed a couple of days. And we camped right in front of the stage, on halfway up the hill, and had the car in the tent, looking for like all the drugs that was being left behind. And wake up in the morning and we can hear this like sound of a spray can and someone pissing at the same time. And I shouldn't have said that. It sounded like water and air. It sounded like aerosol and water, like rain. So come out and there's a guy standing there pissing on the tent and he's spraying an anarchy sign. And we're like, we're the only tent in the whole fucking field, like we've stayed. And I remember me jumping out and kung fu kick this cunt thing. He got a punch and his dog was like, fuck off, I don't know. And I was sitting there having a joint, thinking, right, we're waiting for this girl to come back, Sam. And literally had the back up and the tent was there, and then sitting down looking at the bottom of the field. And I kid you not, must have been like at least 100, 150 travellers coming into the field, like spill into the field.
Oh, fuck.
And I thought I would even make a joke like, oh, let him go get his crusty friends or something like that. I was like,
Fucking did.
and they had chains, they had things like this, right? They had foam wrapped around everything, right? And as I'm looking down there, Dodge is nudging me. He goes, look at the top. He looked at the top and there's a line of security and police doing the same thing, put tape over the badges, putting the things, I'm getting big clubs. And I've pulled the tent into the back of the car, the boot's still open, the girl gets in the car and I was just driving and still, went into a ditch, and it's like they're running at one another, throwing Molotov cocktails, trying to drive cars at one another. It was like a pitch battle. I remember driving back all the way to London, thinking, it's going to be on the news, that's the most incredible thing.
Jesus.
Never heard nothing about it for years, no one ever. Funnily enough, the next year, Glastonbury didn't happen. Turns out it's there's a name for it, and there used to be a site about it asking for eyewitnesses. It's like the Battle of something bridge. It's kind of a follow-on from what happened, the battle at the Beanfield 5 years before in '85, where the police came in and they kind of beat dogs, women, pregnant women, children, and then this was like boiling point. I forget what it's called, something bridge, but it was in, and 300 and something people injured and got arrested, and it was they chainsawing the tops of cars off and trying to run cars up on the hot wiring cars. But that was 1990 was like a mad year, and it was also when I really started like going to Europe and doing sort of like a lot of dance shows and a lot of text shows and stuff, Shakespeare, and we did lots of stuff, man. Back at the Priory Community Centre, and genesis of being like a community. It felt very community, you know what I mean? And I was always very much like, I think I might have overextended myself back in the days when I was on TV and stuff like that. I would make myself more amenable, more thing to kind of feel like I'm not, you know what I mean? Because otherwise people think, and didn't really, you didn't really make a lot of money off the stuff back then. You didn't get like royalties or anything. You just got paid like 250 quid and you did that. But anyway,
wow.
Rabbling on, but
fantastic.
Yeah, so many.
There's some history right there, people. This is
There's always history.
the life story.
It,
The man like Marshall.
DNA.
Is there anyone you
Before
want
that,
to
it used to be called physical eds, phys ed.
Phys ed.
Yeah, that's when when I used to phys ed, and
History, you see.
and then writing too, man. I went yard. I was doing pieces, battered buses.
Sick.
It was
The history's
it
real.
was- yeah, it was nice. Had little beats and stuff, but usually the beats were over girls and crazy stuff like that back then.
The stories will
Miss out
continue
with it.
unfolding in the journey. The mighty
Yeah,
Mo Sean in the
yeah,
building.
yeah.
My brother.
Yeah,
yeah. It's been good to hang out and chat, man.
Yeah, indeed.
That's it. Like that.
Yeah,
Big up the
like
hive.
that.
Big up all crew inside
Big
the
up all the
place.
people
Hold tight,
listening.
hold
Big
tight.
up Mighty Mo.
Yeah, big up Mighty Mo. Big up Dodge. Killa Kela podcast. Now like in was out of fashion. All right, you know what time it is. Remember, crime don't pay, but neither do they. Don't talk to one another. Wouldn't you stay lucky, people? Eyes on the shoulder. Peace.
Peace.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.